What is the Association of Black Mental Health Professionals?
We are a group of professionals, mental health counselors that have a passion of helping people when it comes to dealing with their life stressors, dealing with grief, dealing with depression. We all kind of come together on this particular mission that we all have to be on the same page.
And how did it start? Why did it start?
It just started with a vision. Um, Actually, it's really kind of funny. We were attending a mental health conference out of town, and as we were journeying, we were talking about the need in our community for coming together and pooling our resources. And what we understood was that we were meeting different people who had the qualifications, who were being licensed in mental health, in the mental health field, and the need, or the vision to come together. Chrystal was kind of like really telling me that had been in her heart for some time. So it's just something we were just kind of working through all throughout the conference, and then once we returned back to Fort Wayne, it's just something that she really started rolling out.
I've talked to you a little bit, Ms. Chrystal, but why? Why Association for Black Mental Health Professionals?
Because we have nothing like this here in Fort Wayne. It's just being able to have that support with other people that do the same thing you do. It was nothing like that here. And so what Miss Joyce said is just we wanted it all to come together just to be able to support each other and be able to share our passion with others.
I'm so impressed by that. I attended a conference with a forensic psychiatrist from Atlanta, Georgia. And when you talk about mental health issues and even doing the research, you see that they're in bigger cities. You see that camaraderie.
Yes.
Because just because you want something that's black doesn't mean you don't accept other things. Mental health is mental health.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But to have a camaraderie with people who look like you
yes.
solidifies what you do, in my eyes.
For sure.
Yeah. That's
and
pretty.
you just more comfortable,
Yes.
more relatable when you're able to talk to the next person about the same struggle you're going through. It just makes it more effective that way.
Awesome. How long has this association been in existence, ladies?
Since April of this year.
So you're relatively new.
We are very brand spanking new.
I'm excited to hear what you guys got on the horizons. Yes. What's the mission statement that you guys have?
So our mission statement is we are a group of multicultural professionals coming together to inform, educate, and empower others about mental health. So it's all about helping people understand that their mental health is very important.
This takes me to, I'm going to jump right into that. Mental health, mental illness, mental wellness. Is there a difference from a clinical perspective? Is there a difference, guys?
Yes, there is a difference. And I think the stigma is that a lot of times when you think about mental health, people automatically think mental illness. And so they just think, oh wow, that means that something's wrong with me, or I've got this thing that is just so horrible. But we all have mental health, just like we have physical health. There's physical health, there's mental health. It is just a part of who we are. And you have to care for your physical health. You have to care for your mental health. So sometimes you get sick. Physically, you break a leg, you break an arm, okay? Then then you have a physical illness. The same thing that can happen when we talk about mental health. There's sometimes the way we think, the way we behave, there's something that kind of goes awry. And so maybe at that point, you might have a mental illness. There's something there that needs to be put back in check.
I love how you explain that. I have never heard anyone explain that like that, because then it lets you know there is nothing wrong with me.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. It is common. Our mental health is common to all people.
For sure.
This is what the forensic psychiatrist said, and I say this to people I come in contact with. We are all just one situation away from a mental breakdown.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lose your paycheck.
Yep. That's right.
Lose your house. Lose your. Some people, even when you lose family members,
Yeah.
that's enough of a breakdown.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. So, Chrystal, who is this service for?
Who is this service for?
Yes, ma'am.
Like I said before, mental health affects everyone. But the reason we have this particular association is that we want to direct this focus towards the African American community.
Okay. And how have you been received with this?
With open arms. I'm very, very surprised because you hear, we just don't talk about it. But to be able to have such a welcoming when we talk to them about mental health illness, it's like they want more of it. They want more information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels good.
You're speaking the community as a whole?
As a whole.
And I just wanted to say, we are in the community and we are serving people.
Yes.
We have no barriers on whom we will serve.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, yes, we are a group of Black mental health professionals, but, we are licensed. We have the same degrees.
Yeah.
We have the same training to serve anybody in the community that would welcome our service.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that because of the stigma around in our Black community, we want them to hear our voice loud and clear that we are available to them as well. Okay.
Very good.
Sure.
Good. So, how did you ladies individually get involved with mental health or mental illness or in the field?
Yeah. So I got into the field. It was actually at school, to be honest with you, as my undergrad at St. Francis. My professor was Dr. Daniel. I had Psych 101. Took that course. The rest was history.
And you were hooked.
I was hooked. Just the way he presented it, the way he just broke down psychology, it was just fascinating to me.
So that wasn't what you actually were going to study when you started?
No, not so much.
And what about you, Joyce?
I was going to say, it started when I had to babysit, and I was wondering what was wrong with these kids. I'm sorry. No,
Don't be sorry.
actually, I've always been in the role of serving, and starting very young, and actually was going into education. And went into the classroom, did some exploratory, realized that I could not serve them in the way that I really wanted to or that I needed to. The teachers were there to teach, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be the one to take them aside to say, what is going on, what is happening, what are your needs outside of just education. And so that is what kind of propelled me into the field of psychology.
Wow. And what keeps you there? Your love for what you do.
Yeah, you have to have a passion to do what you do in this field. I love what I do. Just being able to understand and just to be able to learn more about human behavior, it enticed me.
To learn the whys.
The why, for sure.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. Because even, with each step into psychology and counseling and just different fields, different avenues within those fields, I really wanted to get into that mental health and really, really understand people better, really understand and help them understand, because I think that is so important. Because we have so many people and they come to us and they really, truly think that something is so desperately wrong with them, and they have no idea exactly what is going on. So for us to be able to help them understand, you know what, you've been through a real traumatic situation, and that is why you're having all these negative thoughts, and that is why you're feeling suicidal, that is why but there's help and there's hope, and that is our mission, to get that message out.
And so when you have a loved one, that's perfect. What you just said. When you have a loved one, that you might feel like something's just not right. What are some signs that we can look at and say, I think something's more serious and we need to look deeper into this?
Just when they show erratic behavior, you know, you can see if they always been like a calm, cool, collected person, and then all of a sudden you starting to see them blow all their money.
Okay.
You might see them, you know, just acting recklessly, you know, anger, you know,
That's a big one.
that's a huge one, is showing that emotions. It's like, wait a minute, why are you snapping off so quick like that?
Well, what about the people who that's who they are always? That anger, you see that anger always.
Again, it goes back to, what are you used to seeing in this person?
Okay.
You know, the abnormal behavior. You know, if that's a person that's always angry, so, you know, that's them.
Okay.
But if you see them acting erratically, you know, going through the house, breaking stuff, if you show, you know, if they're driving recklessly or whatever, that's abnormal. That's you got to see that.
And then how can family and friends help then? What can family and friends do when they see those things?
So,
because here's the thing, when you say, okay, wait a minute, what's going on with you? The first thing people say, maybe we need to see if we can get some help. I ain't crazy. That's the first thing that comes off. So what can a family or a friend do or say to be, I don't even know if it's politically correct. What can we do to say?
So it's all about your approach. You know, it's all about how you present it to them. You know, if you're coming off to them in a negative way, you're going to get that back. So it's all about your approach, you know, the tone, you know, in your voice, and showing that compassion, that you really, truly want to help that person.
Okay, so I'm going to step right in here then, because in the Black community, in the past, I'm going to say this, in the past, not present, because we're moving forward to change things, right? And that has been, no matter how you come, if you're saying that there's something not mentally right or I'm concerned about you, what's the first thing we do? Black people want to talk about,
you're crazy. Like, you know, it's like,
or just pray about it.
Pray about it. And that's great. I mean, that's awesome. But at the same time, there's something deeper.
Right.
There's something deeper. And that's where we come on board, is that we want to be able to educate. So people would know what to look for, those signs. And then also being able to let them know that these are the places that they can go to get the help.
So you're connecting the resources.
Yes.
So, absolutely. And I think when you see something abnormal in one of your loved ones, you can't approach them, try to, and sometimes you may get backlash, and because it's very hard. It's a hard place to be for someone to admit, I've got this thing going on with me. So I think to try to be as supportive as you can. But if, you see functioning deteriorate, then it will be, maybe you'll have to, you learn as much as you can about what you think might be going on, and then elicit help, and maybe have someone that can come in with you, to help explain to that person what may be going on. What we usually suggest is, a lot of times it's just, we don't really know, but why don't we go and maybe get an assessment? Why don't we go and just see, if there could be something going on. So, and I know that's a hard place to get to.
Yeah.
It really is. But you just have to try to be as supportive as you can.
That's right.
And then bring intervention if, things deteriorate. If functioning, is continuing to worsen.
So what does the educational process then look like in the community with the Society of Black Mental Health Professionals? What is that?
That's where we want to go and start doing trainings.
Okay.
Trainings whether on depression, whether on what are some of those bipolar signs, suicidal awareness, prevention. Is all about training people to know what those things look like and know what those particular signs are.
have you been doing any of that in the community so far?
Well, as a group, not so much, but in our profession where we work at, yeah, we definitely been doing that. But that's something that will be coming upon the horizon. That's something we want to definitely get into, especially starting off in the African American churches. I think that'd be a great place to start when we start providing those trainings to people, knowing about what to look for when someone is depressed, knowing what to look for when that person is suicidal, when their mood swings. It's all about knowing what those particular signs are, those symptoms.
Something that we have started is just going out and just making. We went to several of the beauty shops and barber shops in the community to let them know who we are and let them just to do some mental health awareness. And so just helping them understand that there is a need in our community and there's resources also.
That's right.
There's resources to meet that need. And so we've started doing that. And as Chrystal was saying, some of the churches also at our church, we have started a mental health awareness series. And so we are teaching series in our churches and trying to help our members understand and, to recognize the signs of mental health as well. So, yes.
Awesome. What are some terms that we would be helpful? I mean, I have a couple that are on my mind, but I want to hear what you ladies have to say. What are some terms that really, when people hear them, they may not understand, but would be a benefit of education?
That's a good question. There's so many of them.
Well, what about, can I start with this one?
Yeah.
You guys tell me what you think here about resilience. I think resilience, in my eyes, means being able to keep going no matter what. So, but from a mental health perspective, what does that mean and what does that look like?
So being resilient in that way, you're definitely, your emotional well-being is like everything is intact. Being able to be stable, being able to interact socially with people, that's a good way to show that they're being resilient. Like they're not breaking down or showing any kind of abnormal behaviors when they're stressed, if they're going through grief and loss, very resilient, or even trauma, that to me shows me like they are very resilient because of their mental health.
Or holding on. Would that be okay? So being able to hold on.
And process through, because a lot of times, especially when you talk about grief and loss and some of the other things also, it is how you cope with it. And what we teach and what is so important is learning the coping skills to be able to stay resilient or to be resilient. Because you go through things, and we're all going to go through, situations. But if you have a good set of coping skills, and you may have to learn those along the way, and you can use those effectively, you will be resilient. You will be able to emotionally regulate. You'll be able to stabilize. You'll be able to function at the level that you once were. Maybe things will dip for a moment, but resilience is being able to overcome those issues. And you can do that. You can do that with a good set of coping skills.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. Very good. When we think coping skills, we think that's something, especially if you work with youth, that's something that we actually work at with teaching or educating youth on. What about adults?
There's so many different coping skills when it comes to being an adult,
But I mean the need.
The need.
If we're talking educating this community and educating people, the need for coping skills, because do we actually look at it, or do we just say, you can handle it? You can just go. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Does that make it?
Can I say what I tell everybody? Everybody needs a good set of coping skills. Everybody. Because you might be resilient in this, or you may have done really well in this area, but you're going to hit a wall at some point in your life. and it will be, oh my gosh, I never saw this, this
That's
coming.
right.
What is, I don't know. Yes, everyone needs a good set of coping skills.
For sure.
One of the this is another two. How do I say this? There are two things that I hear as I work with youth. Okay, and it's protective factors and risk factors. Can you ladies speak to that and how that's needed and how to develop the protective factors to help minimize the risk factors?
So protective factors, we just mentioned coping skills. Making sure you have a great set of coping skills. Another protective factor is having a great support system. Being able to have that network of people that you can fall on, Another protective factor that is a really good one is self-esteem. Being able to know that, feeling good about who you are. You got to be able to have self-esteem as well. Another protective factor is being physically fit, making sure you're healthy. That's another great protective factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And your protective factors, that's what's going to help you when we talk about resilience. That's what's going to keep you healthy, keep you going. Healthy physically, healthy mentally, healthy emotionally. So all of those protective factors, that's just what it's, all of those good protective things that have come around you to keep you going on that straight and narrow. And
is that ongoing?
Yes, it needs to be ongoing.
To be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when there's a break or when something happens,
that's right.
Then there can be something else that would come in. But if you have enough and they're strong enough, like I'm saying with the coping skills, and you can pick yourself back up and keep going. The tragedy, I suppose, would be those who do not have those and have never really had them intact, and that's where we see a lot of the risk factors. Just everything opposite of protective. Yes, it's just so there's a whole list of risk factors you want to kind of.
So that right there, when you say risk factors, we got trauma. Trauma is a big one. And I kind of want to tie that into the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And so what the ACEs is about is when children are in a home, it could be, they could have a parent that's in jail, they could have a parent that is using alcohol, drugs, or whatever. They could have someone who is beating on them, physically, sexually. Those type of things, those are like the risk factors right there.
Yeah, when you don't have a good support system.
When you don't have a great support system, that's where things really start to deteriorate.
Poverty. You don't have enough food to eat. I mean, there's just a lot of risk factors that can affect functioning.
Exactly.
And so it makes it really hard.
So I'm really excited to see what you guys have for the future. Right now, it's relatively new, but what is your vision or your plans for the future?
So our plans for the future or the vision, I really do see this as everyone being able to be a part of something great. And I really do see this as a great association, not just because I'm the president or whatever, but it's needed. It's really needed just to have that support from another colleague, and then having that passion to go out and educate people. Just to let people know that we're here, we're available. And my thing, I just want people to be so aware of mental health.
How can the community, how can we as a community help you?
By allowing us to come into your churches, by coming to our trainings, into the barbershops, the beauty shops, just to be able to come to you, and welcome us, and just to be able to receive us in open arms. And thus far, I mean, that's what's been going on. People has really been receiving us really well, and that tells me right there it's a great need. People want it.
What is do you have contact information?
Yeah, so as of right now, my contact information, since I am the president, people can come through me for right now. And my cell number is 260-409-5998.
And this is Chrystal Kelly.
Chrystal Kelly.
And do you have a website, email address?
That is the soon to be announced.
Vision. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay. If you ladies could say one thing each that you would love to leave as a legacy, if your time, when you're done with your work, what would be the legacy that you would leave?
I think to know that someone was helped by the services that I provided, that would speak so loud and clear to my soul that there was someone who was in need of becoming whole. You know, maybe they had good physical health, but there was something going on mentally that was just not where it needed to be. And to know that that person was whole again and can go forth with their life, that would be a wonderful legacy.
Have you seen any of that? Have you experienced anything that really has opened your eyes to say, oh my goodness, I think I made a difference?
Yes.
Share it.
Absolutely, because the thing is when we're working with, and I think this is what kept me in the field, because I realized that there is hope and that people they can get better. They can overcome these mental illnesses or issues just like they can the physical. Broken legs heal. Broken arms heal, broken hips, are replaced, and they go on with life. It is the same thing. You can control and manage anxiety and depression, even when you've had trauma, just severe abuse in your life, and to be able to come in and work with a therapist that is trauma informed and have the skills and the toolkit to be able to operate, or work with you. And then you go out those doors at some point just free and whole. That is just, there's nothing like it.
What about you?
Just to be able to meet people where they are, just to be able to walk this journey with them, just to see how they were when they came to me, and then to the end of their process, their treatment with me, it's just like night and day. And that's the excitement that I get, because I can see it for them, and I tell my clients all the time, I'll be your biggest cheerleader, I will be right there, I will pull you along, but again, it takes them to put in that work, And so just seeing the transformation within a person, to see that they were broken, like Miss Joyce stated, and becoming whole. And that just brings me joy, you know?
And you have the patience to let that happen.
Yes.
That's cool.
For sure.
What is this Rogarian? I didn't forget that.
Yeah.
What? You said you are a true Rogarian at heart. What
so
does that mean?
That's Carl Rogers. He is one of the fathers of psychology. And so I really follow his philosophy, meeting people where they are, and just being there for them, and having that positive regard, meeting them on their level. And so when I heard about him, when I learned about him, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me all the way. So that's kind of like what I do in my treatment with my clients, is I meet them where they are.
Very nice. Hey, I have a question about when people come to you, when black women or black men come to you, and they see that you look like them. Is there a difference? Does a light bulb go on? Do their eyes light up? What has been your experiences there?
Oh yeah, just to see, like, they get so like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been looking for.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is what I've been looking for. And just to have that connection with them, again, yeah, we know there are a lot of great therapists. I'm not
Yes.
knocking that at all.
Absolutely.
But when you can sit down and actually talk to somebody that look like you and know what you're going through on a cultural level,
Right.
it makes a big difference.
Right. That's awesome.
And I think with our youth, with our
Yeah.
adolescent, I think it's very impactful for them
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times they're going through so many things and they don't feel like people can relate.
Yeah.
You know, especially working with adolescents that have been in the system
Mm-hmm.
and just, you know, sometimes they're mandated to go to counseling and, you know, they sit down in front of the therapist and just, you know, they don't want to open up because they're just like, you know, there's just no connection there. But when they find somebody who looks like them,
Yeah.
who they feel, you know, have that same cultural experience,
Or
in
who's
some
not going to
ways.
judge them for where they live,
Exactly.
or
Right.
you know, that I can imagine. That makes a big impact.
Right.
I
A
commend you,
huge.
ladies. Yeah,
For sure.
If I had another life, I would be a therapist.
There is a particular app that I want to share with people
Okay.
that people probably don't know about. It's called The Safe Place. It's a free app that you can download on your phone, and it's an app that was created by a young African American female. She has to be about 23, 24 years old. She is she's a mental health counselor, but I don't think she's licensed. But this particular app, it just kind of educates people in the African American community about diagnoses, you know, assessments that they can take, the depression, the PTSD, the ACEs. She has that in there, resources that they can seek, books that they can look at, read. And I would encourage people to download that app.
What's it called again?
The Safe Place.
The Safe Place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It's awesome. I love it.
awesome. Gosh, thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, final thoughts then.
There's a work to be done,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that I can be in on helping to do some of that. And I think that as we all pull our resources, our talents, our training, our education, our passions,
Yes.
that work is going to get done, and we're going to see a wonderful impact in our community.
Oh, wait a second. I want to know, how big is your group so far? Because this is Fort Wayne, right?
Yeah,
So, because this is a small city, I'm
Yeah.
just curious, how many members do you have so far?
So we have a good 9 to 10 people that's committed, and these are licensed, unlicensed mental health providers, and social workers and case managers.
Wait a minute, very good. So you don't have to be a therapist to be a part of the
Exactly.
of the hold
the
on,
association.
Let me get it right. The Society of Black Mental Health Professionals.
Exactly. So we definitely have social workers that's part of this association. We have case managers. Our only requirement for the group is that you have to be working in the field of mental health and have a passion for working with people.
So do you take volunteers though?
Yes, volunteers for sure.
Okay,
For sure.
very nice.
And we
Do
want
you
to
have any
thank
male
you.
therapists?
We have a couple.
Awesome.
Yes. And I just wanted to say, I just thank you for allowing us to be here. Like, to be able to get the word out. Because this is what we've been trying to do. We've been hitting the ground running. And so, there is still a lot of work to do.
Yes.
But we're coming full force. And I'm
Thank you, Tammy.
excited. And I'm just so thankful for you to
Thank
allow
you.
us to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Yeah.
And something in October, wait a minute, this is September. In October, is it Mental Health Awareness Month? What is that? I mean, I can't remember if it's Mental
Yeah.
Health Awareness Month.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month.
You guys have anything special planned for that month?
As of right now, we're going to continue to get the word out. So you may see us at your local churches. You may see us at more barbershops, beauty salons. Again, we're just trying to let people see our faces and see that this is what we're doing.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
Ladies, final thought?
My final thought is that again, it goes back to having that passion. I have a vision, and I don't know. This just been on my heart for a long time. And just knowing that this is where I'm at in my life now, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make it happen. So I want people to know that we're here, we're available, and we got them.
There you go. Chrystal Kelly and Joyce Strong. You are listening to Speak Now with Gena, right here at 95.7 FM, WELT. Did you get to record, Justin? Oh, I'm sorry.